Greetings loyal minions, welcome back to the SciShow, the number one ranked YouTube channel for people who like short intros. If that's you, I appreciate you. Straight into the war hits. Trying a 4-1 team, basically just to bust through the tank with the Mega Minion and then try to take the rest from there. It is a bit of a struggle with my yellow team as I only have 3 legend cleric fighter troops. However, nearly all of my good yellow heroes are clerics and fighters. I'm not complaining. I know 3's a lot, more than most people, but it does make it hard to pick that 4th hero in a 4-1 stack. I generally end up with a fighter cleric that doesn't have a troop, or someone such as Diochan who does have a troop but is still a little bit squishy and therefore a bit of a weak link in the team. Ariel for a heal and extra mana if I'm not getting the yellow tiles, Charl obviously for a boost and hit, Erlang Sheng and Christine Day for that damage combination, and Diochan obviously for a bit of damage and defense down as well. Not a great starting board, had to put a few tiles into June to try and get through it, and as we can see that's a bad manoeuvre as my weak link gets taken out. From here, it's pretty much game over as I'm not going to have the firepower, but we'll see what happens. A little bit of thinking time here as I wasn't sure whether to try and kill the blue guy with my 3 yellow tiles, can't think of his name. I knew I could easily take out the tank with those 3 tiles, however the blue guy is more dangerous from an attacking point of view and I was hoping to take him out. It's a good idea to pay attention how much damage your tiles are doing throughout the battle, because when you get to this sort of scenario you can better calculate whether you can actually kill him or not. So that's a little tip there. It may sound like a lot of work but it can prove very useful. Not much more annoying in the world than when you have a ghosting lane and you still can't get the tiles to get some people charged just to take out the remaining few that had low health. I've been using a slight variation of this team a bit recently against costume Diochan. We have Guardian Gazelle to give that huge attack boost, which will help Shimmer Scale and Frank, along with Arm and Moncharmin with the Mega Minions. We have Pepper Flame in there to also add that growth. So we just end up with really strong Mega Minions, good tile damage, and the longer the battle goes, the more chance you've got of coming back with a couple of good tile hits or cascades to get the win. There is a slight risk here with Forsus being a taunter. However, again, with a couple of big tile hits or a couple of decent hits from my heroes, I know I'm going to get rid of that taunt reasonably quickly. tip for the young guys, it's often easy to see a hot target like Costume Diochan, you've got a few heroes charged and you just want to blow your load hard and early. But I know that my Pepper Flame takes 7 tiles to charge, I've already had 3, so I can see a match that will give me the extra 4 tiles for Pepper Flame, which will then add not only the growth, but I can put the defense down and the growth for Frank and Shimmer Scale to then use their hit, along with the attack boost that Guardian Gazelle is going to give me. So, good tip there, don't blow too early. Tough team here with a lot of healing and boosting up front with Hathor, Garten and Charles. My thought was to take the 4 purples against a couple of yellows. Not always the best tactic, but occasionally it's worth trying. I've got Smart Tongue to reduce their max health and lower the healing, and also lower the attack. I was planning on this game taking quite a while, so I thought if I could drop their attack with that Wither, I could basically survive long enough to get lucky with tiles and take out what I needed to. We've got some quite good damage with Farah, Deadboot and Hunter. Deadboot to steal some of the buffs. We've also got Diochan's minions to steal those buffs, and then Farah, Deadboot and Hunter to take them out. Farah with the defense down, elemental defense down, Deadboot with a Wither, and Hunter to then get the finishing blow. So it was just a matter of taking my time and getting through this, taking them out one by one, or if getting lucky with tiles, just smashing through them. Well, that's disheartening. Almost got the kill. Would have been probably battle over right there, but they've got just enough health to survive, and we just have to keep plugging away, trusting the process. Most of my theory had worked. I'd reduced their attack so much that I could stay alive for an awful long time. However, once I lose Dead Boot, which is about to happen, it's very, very tough, and this is where it's always tough to go against a team of healers if you don't have quite enough firepower. I feel I was extremely unlucky in this battle. I feel I had a good plan. It actually kind of worked, but I could not believe how slow the purple tiles were. The other thing I did was underestimate Hell's ability of stealing my mana. I probably need to pay a little bit more attention here and there when I made certain purple matches, as I was possibly giving away too much mana. So this is where the smaller details can come in and can play a part. But by this point, I was absolutely swearing my head off at the lack of purple tiles when it had been going for almost 10 minutes. a good example of perseverance and never giving up. I had my theory of reducing their attack to survive long enough to try and do what I needed to, and at some point, even though it never looked great for the whole battle, at some point I got those tiles and was enough to take out the tank. So never give up. But timeouts suck. I've been using Sludges against the team that has mostly multiple hitters. That's the case here. Obviously that plan is straightforward. Have Sludges go off and then have them kill themselves. However, it's always great to have a backup plan. So we have Lu Bai and Xiao Jing just for some damage against the tank. Lu Bai obviously gives those the reflect as well, so that's a bit of protection, helps take them out. Xiao Jing's obviously a good hit and also gives a dodge, so it's the backup plan. If Sludges doesn't work, how am I going to win this match? So Xiao Jing has a big hit, gives me the dodge. The dodge will also help Sludges if Sludges goes off. We have Fizz Coil to lower their attack and defense, and Lazara to give me the safe cleanse and some damage, the safe cleanse against Poffet if needed, knowing that if Sludges goes off, then Poffet won't affect me anyway. So again, always have a backup plan. Backup plan had worked a treat with that green diamond at the start. It got rid of the tank, but now I'm left with the scenario where the right hand side is about to fire, but they're not the main damage dealers, and I actually have dodge and reflect up with the minions. So I decide to go to the left hand side to get them to fire whilst I still have the protection, hoping to dodge, which would then allow me more time to get my heroes charged back up again. Best tactic against Grimsteel is to take Fungustine to steal his growth, so that huge attack and defense. The longer the battle goes, you end up stealing it and you're having huge hits yourself. So we've got Mina to slow them down with the Mana Steel. We've got Aradia. I know she can be cleansed, but it's to get some fire damage in just to whittle them down a little bit. It's also to reduce their max health and stop their healing. We've got Cardinal to throw his Fiends up to also stop the healing. And we have Ash for damage, elemental defense down to then let Cardinal hit a little bit harder. Grimsteel is obviously a little bit easier in normal type wars where he's running at slow speed, as opposed to Rush where he can just go off a few times and be an absolute pain in the butt. This is some magical move that no one else would have seen. Just trying to highlight that sometimes if you're trying to clear tiles when the board doesn't look great, I've got scattered tiles everywhere. It may have been a choice to take the yellow Dragon Bomb and get rid of a few tiles, but I can see if I take the purple match on the left, it's going to give me 2 greens. Now, 2 greens means nothing, but you just never know what can happen, and as you'll see, it was magical. Tank before Rhine-Glow. He's slow, he has a taunt and has huge regen, so I've taken a red team. Even though there's a healer, it's just a tile damage over time against the slow. I've got Sparklight to try and reflect his buffs back to me. I've got Hathor obviously for some healing to keep everything alive, whilst Darkfeather then charges. I would generally take other purples with Darkfeather, but again, knowing that I've got Hathor there for the heal, and also Hilda, who applies a bit of burn and gets some heal, then hopefully I'm going to stay alive long enough to get Darkfeather charged and then all my attackers off at once. So even if the guy has taunt up, it will then still do enough damage to get some kills. I take a bit of time to assess the starting board here, as I've got a few of every colour on the board, but I kind of want to try and group some reds together. So I take the move on the right to bring that red into play a bit more and make it a bit more useful. And then from there, I assess the board further and just try to make those reds fall into place. Example of not just firing away and trying to get a kill. I can see that I can charge Darkfeather up here and survive long enough for that to happen. He's going to give me a heal. I don't even heal with Hathor, because once Darkfeather fires, then even Hathor can give me some damage. Made it this far, thanks for watching. I really do appreciate the support. I hope these videos have helped in some small way. Please remember, as a startup channel, I do need as much support as I can, so please give me a like, drop me a comment, and as always, gently caress that subscribe button. Also, give your kitty a scratch for me.